video, we are going to be giving some Christmas read suggestions. We're going to go, instead of tier ranking, we're just going to go by star ratings. So we're going to start with 5-star, work down to, what's your lowest?
2.
Oh, okay. Work down to 2-star. Okay, so should we just jump right in?
Are we starting with 5 or?
Yeah, I just said that.
I wasn't listening. I've been focusing on how bad it looks. Like every time I move my hand.
Well, don't do that. Keep your hands down.
Okay.
Oh no. Even that makes a shadow. Look.
I just won't move.
Put your phone down lower.
Okay, don't move.
I'm a statue. Curse you, Washington, for getting dark at 4:30.
Okay. I say we start with, I think we have a mutual for the 5-star.
Well, I think you rated it 5-star and I rated it 4.5. So, but just go ahead.
5-star read is Flores Traveling Christmas Shop. I wrote down none of the authors, but
Rebecca Raisin.
I will put a picture up of every book on the screen so you can see who the author is, because Christmas authors aren't like all season authors. I don't have them in my head, and I just forgot to write them down. But this follows our main girl who has a traveling Christmas shop.
Yeah. So she basically works at a Christmas store at the beginning of the book. She gets fired and she's like, what am I doing with my life? I need to do something that brings me joy. So she decides to basically sell her belongings, buy this little camper van, turn it into a traveling Christmas shop. She goes to this place that's I want to say it's I feel like Lapland or somewhere super northern Sweden, Denmark is what I the vibes.
I thought it was Scotland. I don't know why.
I don't know.
But just because of the main guy.
It's Christmas town. So she goes there. It's they have this Christmas market all year round. And the manager of the town is Mr. Grumpy, and so she's going to be sunshine in his life. And so it's just a cutesy little romance revolving around a Christmas market. My only 5-star read that I have is Sleigh Rides and Silver Bells at the Christmas Fair by Heidi Swain. Now, I did not know when I picked this up that this is actually the 6th book in a series, but each book is based off of a different main character set in this world, so you don't really have to read them in a certain order. But this follows our main girl. I can't remember her name, but she's basically hired on as a companion for the wealthy owner of this massive estate, think Downton Abbey. So it's kind of like modern day Downton Abbey. There's the estate that she comes to work on and care for the main character, or the estate owner's wife. She's convalescing after a surgery or something. And then there's a village around that revolves around the estate and everything that happens there, just like Downton Abbey. So it's just super cute, very heartwarming, the vibes, the setting. If you love Downton Abbey and you're looking for Downton Abbey but at Christmas time, I would highly recommend this. And yeah, I'm just on a venture to read everything Heidi Swain ever writes. Her books are hard to come by though, so.
Do we own that?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
So you can read it.
Okay. If you insist.
TBR.
Okay, my next book is a novella called A Holiday by Gaslight. I believe this is by Mimi Matthews. I read this, I believe, 2 years ago, and absolutely loved it. I think I might reread it this year. It's set during the Victorian time period, Regency vibes, London, everything you could ever want. And it's sweet, it's atmospheric. 10 out of 10 for me.
I don't have any more 5 reads, so you just keep going.
My last one is a middle grade, and that is Snow and Rose. And read this for the illustrations, please. It is just so cute. There is a plot, but almost every page is a full page illustration. The text is huge. If you just want something mindless, something just that's pretty instead of just words on paper, check it out. Don't skip it because it's middle grade. I think it's super cute, and I'll reread it this year for sure. just for the pictures.
Okay, so on to 4-star reads?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one I read last Christmas, and this is called A Five and Dime Christmas. It's by a variety of authors, so I think it has about 5 different short stories. They're all set in the 1800s at this, I think like almost 1900s, 1880s, actually. And it's set in America at this local kind of department store, and it follows different characters from the area that come and go in this department store, maybe work at the department store, but they're all just super heartwarming and sweet. Some are a little more cheesy than others, but they all have different romance aspects. And it was just really fun to read something revolving around the same area and the same location and time period, but with different characters in each one. So I really liked it.
Okay, my next one we both have, which is An Ivy Hill Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I also love this book because it's also, I believe, set in London. It's
like Regency.
They have more fun. Pride and Prejudice. Yeah. Nobody does Christmas parties like they used to. And if I could read one genre during December, it would be historical fiction, just for the big parties.
And this book is by Julie Klassen, who is a Christian author. She predominantly only writes books, I think, in like the Regency era. So if you're looking for like clean romance books in the Regency era, she has a book series that came out that's kind of reminds me of Sanditon. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I've read several books by her and I really like her. I don't really remember much about what it's about though, but I just remember I really enjoyed it.
I liked it.
And it was Regency.
But I also remember being like so frustrated.
Yeah. The main
banter is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the main male character is a little like presumptuous.
Like, I even had to warm up to him like with her.
Yeah.
But I
did. So moving on to... Okay, so I read a book called Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan. And this is about a husband and wife who are at least middle-aged. I would say more like in their 50s. They own a little Christmas store, or not a Christmas store, a bookstore. And they live in the space above the bookstore. So like their whole life has been revolved around running this Christmas store and serving the locals in this area by selling books. And so right at the beginning of this book, you learn that the bookstore is kind of in a decline. Their finances aren't doing well. And so the wife is trying to keep that a secret from her husband because she knows it's going to be like devastating to him if they have to sell the bookstore. And so it's all about like everyone coming together to see if they can save the bookstore. And it's just super cute. It gives like Hallmark vibes, the found family of all the people in the local little village area. It's just super sweet. I loved it.
Okay, my next book is a YA novel, and that is The Holiday Switch. And I remember I initially read this because it's about a girl who has a book blog. So naturally I was very drawn to that. And this primarily takes place in a bookstore. And I believe the main guy is like the owner's nephew or something like that. But I stayed up so late reading this book. I don't even know what it was that got me so invested. Maybe it was just the book element was so prominent throughout the whole novel, but I loved this book, and maybe if I read it not at like 2 a.m. it wouldn't be as good. But that's how I remember it, so give it a try.
Okay, next I have Midnight in Everwood, which I actually got as a ARC on NetGalley, but this book is a Nutcracker retelling. I don't remember a whole lot about the details of the book, but I do remember that this girl is kind of in an arranged marriage to this mysterious man who's like, kind of gives Caraval vibes in a way, because he's known as a magician and he puts on like these elaborate shows. And so he comes to their house to like put on this show for her, and she ends up like somehow getting sucked into this other world that's very reminiscent of the Nutcracker. So she has to figure out how to like navigate this world, but also to get back home, and like what she's gonna do in regards to her arranged marriage to him. But it was just very like whimsical, magical Caraval feel. So if you're looking for something and you to read at Christmas time and you love Caraval like I do, it would be a great thing to pick up.
Okay, my next book is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox, and I'm sure you've heard of this, but this follows two twin sisters who switch places. One is a baker, and I can't remember what the other one does. It's something more in the big city. She's probably an actor or something. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I did really like this book in the moment, though. I actually signed up for Book of the Month on my email just to get this book for $5. So, pro tip, use someone else's email and get a $5 Book of the Month and then cancel for the holidays if you don't want to spend your money on a book you might not reread.
It's possible. It's doable. Okay, my turn. How many more 4 stars do you have?
That was my last.
Okay. So the next book I read, or the next book on my list, is Green Glass House by Kate Milford. This is a middle grade fiction book set around kind of like a hotel, but more like a boarding house type feel. Like it's a house and they rent out the rooms. So anyways, this follows the young boy, or the boarding house, and and he kind of starts discovering things about the tenants there, but also about the boarding house's history and the area. And there's some magical paranormal things involved, but it was just really cute to read at Christmas time. I don't read a lot of middle grade, but I really enjoyed that one. And then the last book I have that's a 4-star is Christmas at Rosie Hopkins' Sweet Shop by Jenny Colgan. Didn't know this was part of a series when I read it. Apparently, maybe I should have read the first one before. I'm not really
read
sure.
the first one since?
No. But I understood it and everything just fine without reading it. But this follows our main character, Rosie Hopkins, who owns a sweet shop that she inherited from her grandmother, I believe. And her boyfriend is from like a very wealthy family in the area. And so it kind of follows like their relationship with her. I can't remember if he's her boyfriend or fiance, but either way, his mom doesn't really approve of her because she's just a regular, regular gal. She's not like from a wealthy family. And so it follows their relationship, but also I think her relationship of like getting to know his family and being accepted and all of that jazz. So it was really cute. I mean, I love Jenny Colgan, so.
Okay, my first book in the 3-star category is All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. And this was kind of disappointing to me because this is about a singing competition. And so it's these two vocalists against each other, and of course they have beef, and then they're put together to do a duet, yada yada. This takes place in Nashville, which is like one of my favorite places in the world. And so I was so excited to read this, and it just felt kind of lazy to me. Like, we skipped almost a whole year in the middle of the book. Not like for an epilogue. I'm talking in the middle of a book, and then they get together. And I just didn't buy it. Like,
a little rush.
Why do they not have enough chemistry that they can get together in this year? We have to skip to next year?
Yeah, that's kind of annoying too. I need to know what happened in between. That's kind of annoying. Okay. This book I read last year, I think, and that's The Christmas Clash by Suzanne Park. And this was actually like pretty funny. I don't have like anything necessarily that I didn't like about it. It just wasn't like amazing, but it was still fun. So this follows a teenage boy and girl who work at the mall, and their families own, like, feuding Asian restaurants. So, like, her family owns, like, the Korean one, and his owns, like, the Chinese one or something. I can't remember, but they're, like, competitors. And they've known each other. They go to the same high school, but they've just kind of always, like, kept their distance because their families are feuding. So it's about that, but also something happens, and the mall that their family's restaurants are in is, like, on the brink of closure. So it's like there's a romance aspect. There's a, like, saving the mall so their families still have a livelihood. It was funny. Like, there's a lot of current humor. Like, they talk about TikTok and stuff like that, which is kind of an ick for me, but I'm old, so maybe that's why.
No, I have a book that I rated low on for that reason.
But yeah, it was fun. It was cute. It just wasn't, like, amazing.
Okay, my next book is A Castle in the Clouds, and this takes place in the Swiss mountains, actually for a New Year's party. So this is an after Christmas book for you, which I feel like there needs to be more of, because I feel like I get on a high of Christmas books, and then there's nothing for the winter season.
There's just a big letdown.
And then we have nothing until, like, the summer romances, and you need a little something to carry you back to your normal reads. And
out of your depression.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. The setting was a 10 out of 10. Our main character works at this hotel, and then there's kind of like you think there's going to be a love triangle situation going on, but there's a huge mystery, like people are stealing things, and it's just entertaining. If you love Home Alone 2 and want to be in the mountains, here you go.
That's an interesting combination. Okay. The next book I read, or on my list, I didn't read these in this order, is the only Christina Lauren book I've ever read, and that is In a Holidays. And I really liked the setting of this book because it kind of gave Dan in Real Life vibes, because they all come to this cabin kind of as, like, a family, not a family reunion, but like a friend reunion. So it's like multiple families. It's their tradition to come to this cabin every year and get together. So it's like none of them are related. But the main girl finds herself in a predicament kind of like Groundhog Day. So she's waking up and reliving the same day over and over again. And it's really like she's trying to right a wrong that has happened to her family, but also navigate like a potential romance at the same time with one of like her lifelong childhood friends too. So it was cute. It's just there were like some scenes that I had to skip over, so if that's not your thing, be aware of that. So it was just, the setting was good, the vibes was good, the romance was a little ick to me, but anyways, I digress.
Okay, my next book is also called All I Want for Christmas, Part 2. And this one I didn't enjoy as much. I know I rated them the same, and that's confusing now that I'm realizing it. But I just don't think about this one very often. This book follows a girl who is like destined to find her perfect boyfriend to do all of these Christmas activities with, and of course it would never be this athletic guy. Ew, it's gonna be the dorky British guy. Or is it? What? I didn't really like this book because of the teenage aspects. Like, I can live without, this is probably gonna sound mean, I can live without a 40-year-old woman trying to write a book for teens, trying to use things that teens say. You can write a book for a certain audience without incorporating things they experience, in my opinion. Like, when I turn 21, I don't need all of a sudden to read a bunch of books where people drink. Like, I just don't. I don't get it.
True.
So that's just why I didn't really like it. I felt like it just had every stereotype in a book.
Iggy Holiday.
It's gonna be.
I think it's Yuga is how you pronounce it, but it's by Rosie Blake. I read this a while ago, so I'm a little iffy on the details, but this follows a girl who ends up going to... Hang on.
Do you know the country?
I can't remember why she goes here. Okay, anyways, it's set in London, I'm pretty sure, or not London, England, in like a very, very tiny village. This girl named Clara ends up going to visit, I can't remember how she's related to her, if it's just a like family friend, but anyway, she goes to visit this woman who owns the local village children's toy store, and she ends up house sitting for her and running the Christmas, or the children's book. Oh my gosh, it's not a bookstore. It's a toy store. She ends up running the toy store in her absence. That's what it is. The lady goes on vacation. She runs the toy store while she's gone. It's all coming back to me. And she is kind of like on a mission to bring life back into this toy store. Its son ends up coming back to visit his mom and doesn't even know that she's gone. And he's like, why are you in my mom's house? Why are you running
Summer
her toy
magic?
store? Kind of. And so, like, they don't like each other at first, but then I'm sure you can guess what happens. Anyways, it starts out in the autumn time, and then it eventually goes into Christmas. So it's not a solely Christmas book.
But it's November,
but
so start now.
It gets there eventually. So it's cute. It has a lot of, like, it kind of gives, like, You've Got Mail vibes, but a toy store. Like, but they stay open. They don't go under by box books, so right. Anyways, carry on.
My next book is a 2.5 star.
Oh wait, I'm still in the 3-star category.
It's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
And that is So This Is Christmas. I'm going to be honest. I read this book because it's set in Oklahoma.
Oh.
And I've never seen a book set in Oklahoma.
And it's YA.
And it's YA, and it was very YA, as in, like, the writing was not that great, the language was strong, those kinds of things. I didn't really jive with it. I don't really know why, but I feel like the only reason I finished it was because it's in Oklahoma, and that's where I'm from. So.
Okay, the last book on my list is Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. The only reason I wanted to read this is because I am a Christmas with a Crank stan. I read this book because I wanted to see if the movie was true to the book, and it is. There's that. I didn't really need to read it because I've watched the movie a million times, but if you care about its accuracy, you too can read it and see for yourself.
Okay, my last book is What Child Is This?, which is a, like, Sherlock Holmes novel. I didn't like it. Like, that's literally all I have to say. I have no idea why it bothered me so bad. I just didn't jive with it. I wasn't excited to read it. I didn't really care about the case. There was, like, multiple going on. It just... Read, like, an Agatha Christie or something. Not a knockoff Sherlock Holmes. Read something else.
Okay.
That's all.
That concludes our list of Christmas books we've read and rated, so you don't have to. Maybe you found some recommendations. Maybe you found some things you shouldn't add to your list. Maybe you could stay away from some. Put your efforts towards others, you know?
Maybe you're about to have your second book of the month account. Don't forget to cancel.
It will auto-charge you.
As soon as I got mine delivered, I canceled.
But yeah. We're excited for Christmas time. Let us know if you have any books that you think we should read for our Christmas TBR, because we are always looking for more. So
I feel like we should make a Kindle Unlimited video.
We should. That's what we're grinding through right now.
We're about to read.
Yep.
Okay. Well, like and subscribe if you like this.
Yep. Let us know what we should read. And we'll see you in our next video.